In this video, you will learn how to multiply a polynomial by a constant term. In this example, we will multiply the constant term 5 by the polynomial x subtract 1. We will begin by setting up our multiplication chart. We will now model positive 5 coming down the side. You can also model it going across the top. To model positive 5, we must use 5 shaded unit tiles. Going across the top now, we will model the polynomial x subtract 1. So a shaded rod represents x, and negative 1 is represented by one unshaded unit tile. Now you need to ask yourself, 1 times x gives you what? Well, 1 times x is x. Then 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. So you just go ahead and ask yourself the same thing. What's 1 times x, which is x, and 1 times negative 1 gives you negative 1. And we're going to continue to multiply our constant terms by the polynomial x subtract 1. And the area modeled inside of the multiplication chart is the answer. So the answer to 5 times x subtract 1 is, well, we have 5 positive x tiles and we have 5 negative unit tiles. So the answer is 5x subtract 5. In the next example, we will multiply the constant term negative 2 by the trinomial 2x squared subtract x plus 3. We begin by setting up our multiplication table. Coming down the side, we will model negative 2 using 2 unshaded unit tiles. And then going across the top, we will model our trinomial 2x squared using 2 big shaded tiles, subtract x using 1 unshaded rod, and positive 3 using 3 shaded unit tiles. And I should probably space this out a little more. Now ask yourself, negative 1 times positive x squared gives you what? Well, a negative times a positive gives you a negative, and 1 times x squared gives you x squared. So negative 1 times positive x squared is negative x squared. Negative 1 times negative x gives you positive x, and negative 1 times positive 1 gives you negative 1. Negative 1 times positive 1 gives you negative 1 again. And finally, negative 1 times positive 1 is another negative unit tile. Again, we must multiply the constant term negative 1 by the trinomial 2x squared subtract x plus 3. And when we do that, we get another identical row. So the answer to our multiplication statement is the area being modeled inside of our multiplication table. So we have 4 negative x squared tiles. We have 2 positive x tiles, and we have 6 negative constant terms. So here is our final answer. Finally, we're going to look at multiplying a polynomial by a constant term using symbols. So what we need to do is we need to multiply every term inside the brackets by our constant term -3. We must distribute the -3 among every term inside the brackets. So we should write in our numerical coefficient of 1 to remind us that there is a number in front of the term y squared. Then we just go ahead and do -3 times 1y squared gives me -3y squared. -3 times positive 5y gives you -15y. And -3 times -6 is positive 18. Watch your signs when you're doing these multiplication questions. This concludes our lesson on multiplying polynomials by a constant term.